Hello, welcome to the show. Ain't Gonna Hurt Nobody podcast. It's our 28th episode, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow, we're almost to 30.
I know. For this episode, we decided we needed to do something for the very first time with somebody that's here for the second time. Let's have our first return guest.
Returning. She actually could deal with us enough to come back? What's happening?
It was a hard thought.
Not even a pandemic can keep us apart. Not even trying to schedule an episode a month ago that she was like, nah. But we got her here today, ladies and gentlemen. Miss Melissa Stinson. So, Melissa, a lot has happened since you last been here. So we did a very serious episode talking about, becoming parents to your parents, right? Very, very heavy topic, something that a lot of us never knew we would sign up for in our life, something that we all, a lot of us have worn and are wearing to this day. Then we had a little pandemic happen. We still, we all stayed in touch, and lots happened with you. And I don't think we spent a lot of time talking about your love life and your enterprises, but I think now is a good time. Now is the perfect time ever to discuss a little bit more about you in depth. Okay. So Melissa, how about you give everybody just a quick update of your enterprise and what you're doing and kind of where it's been, where it's going, and all that other fun stuff.
A lot has changed. Was it been 3 years almost?
It's been about 3 years.
Yeah. A lot has changed. I moved a couple of times. I moved the business a couple of times. I am now inside of art kind of gallery called Mana Contemporary. So I'm alone finally. Okay. I have my own space, and it's maybe about 500 square feet. It's perfect. I'll say this. I wanted to do a concept of coffee by appointment, because after a while of just kind of being in storefronts and just waiting on people to come, it was kind of like, you know what? I don't want to do that anymore.
Oh, that's fair.
I actually want to be doing something with my time, and if somebody's coming, great. So the way it's set up is that you go online, you make an appointment, it's $20. Now, that pretty much pays for any drink. Sometimes you can get a second drink, but it's also for the experience of coming in the space and a little bit of my time. And it's quality stuff. So it's not like it's cheap stuff.
Yeah.
It's thought about, it's intentional. All of it's intentional. So, I mean, it's more so you come in the building, you take the elevator up, come to the door. Like, you can't just roll up in there, which is awesome. And I have a small space where I still make the coffee or matcha or whatever, but for the most part, it's like being inside of my head. It's like just organized confusion, but it works.
It works really well. What I've always loved about all of your spaces and all of your locations, whether it's pop-up or being inside of the storefronts, there's an element of discovery. Like, I walk away knowing something about whether it's, I was not a coffee drinker until I had kids, and I was content, and still am content in a lot of ways, with drinking Keurig. But now I can tell the difference about good coffee and bad coffee. You've given me the confidence to just say, you know what? I like this business, but this is bad coffee.
Yeah.
I fuck with y'all, but this is bad coffee.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it's not just about coffee. In fact, sometimes we talk very little about coffee.
Yeah.
We talk about, I work, everyone knows I worked at New Era a long time, so we talk about fashion. We talk about people. We talked about relationships. We talked about finances. We've talked about, not saying where it's an auto shop, but we've talked about, like, vehicles and what we want to purchase. And we talk about, you lived in New York for a while. We talk about all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. So, I hear, at first you told me about this concept of you were charging $20 for a cup of coffee, and you had to make an appointment. I said, I hope I don't need an appointment to get in. I learned the hard way. Yeah, I know I better not show up without asking, because she may or may not be there, or she may have other people who have booked that time slot. Sure. So, and I respect that. I really, really do, even though I took the stairs that day. But it was 4 flights.
It is.
I needed that exercise, but it makes so much sense now that I see it in action. Just the curation of, I don't want to call them artifacts because that makes it seem like it's a museum,
it's
but
not.
it's really like all the,
It's just things I've collected
over the years, and these things, are rare and desirable in terms of you can see it in person. And what's even better is your story behind how you got them, because you don't just have these, I'll say an action figure. There's a story of that person and how you might have influenced or helped them decide to make an action figure or to do this rug, or you'll have a story of how, some things you've had to wait in line for.
Yeah.
But you were there, and now the thing is 20 years old, and now it's something that, people are coveting on eBay or whatever these kids are doing. Hell, they're selling and doing stuff now.
Those eBayers. I would say, like, for me, I'm really proud of your like transition and growth. Like, it's like really amazing to see. It's just like, wow. Like, if you get the lucky chance to have an appointment, it's like worth it. Like, it's almost like a curated vibe. It's not like it's like a vibe when you go in there. And then the bonus is you get coffee, in my opinion. Yeah. Like, for me, when I was in there, because I love hip-hop. Like, if you love hip-hop and just, like, graffiti, like, hip-hop culture, not just, like, rappers. It's, like, the art, the books, like, everything is in there. And so I was mainly just, like, looking around. I enjoyed just being there. I didn't have to have a drink. Melissa, sometimes she smiles when I come. Sometimes she lets me give her a hug or a handshake or something. Sometimes she doesn't, but it's still pretty good overall. It was like really, really good. So the fact that you just explained, like, it's 20, I respect you more for valuing your time, because it's like you could just be sitting there all day and no one comes, or like two people come. So it actually is really cool now that I understand it further. Like, hey, I'm going to be here, you're going to be here, and you're going to get the experience you want. Or you could just sit there, watch a show, read a book, I'll be there, like.
Or talk about restaurants, right? We talk about restaurants, happy hours, events.
Yep.
Why somebody else's concept is working, why somebody else's concept isn't working. And it's not in a hating way. It's just more of like the social experience of everything, like and what's going on there. So, one of the things we talk about a lot is love and relationships and commitment and monogamy. And one of the things we talk about a lot is, we're all, 40 and up now.
Yes, we are.
We talk about, some of us talk about like love after 40. We've all talked about Coley's theory on love, about most people come across their soulmate by the age of 25, and it's up to y'all to figure out.
I don't remember that.
You gotta tell. He tells this to anybody.
I don't know what that is.
You never heard Chloe's theory on love?
Maybe, and I just kind of ignored it.
You probably did. So, what better time to bring it up again?
Okay.
So, here we go. Here's Chloe's theory on love. So, what we do, what the reality is, men and women mature at different ages. This is going back to, call it, your teenage years, right? So, most if not all women mature faster than men. That obviously, in my opinion, from what I've experienced in my high school and young adult and college life, right? Women tend to want men who are older because they bring a perspective that guys their age aren't necessarily bringing. And
they think they do.
They think they do, whether it's true or not. But for the most part, I saw that a lot of women my age, through high school and a good part of college, paid me no attention. The ones I wanted to pay me attention didn't pay me attention. And then outside of my beautiful wife, right? But something happened at the age of 25 where there was like a power shift started to happen. Like at that point, you're in your career, you have a little bit of money, any acne problems have cleared up.
Oh, not the acne.
You have money to go to the barbershop consistently versus keep, back then, either you just had braids or they might get the frizzies, or I had the 360, so I just kept the do-rag on way too long. But the point is, something happens at the age of 25 where I feel like you hit this point where, like, you're all equal now. Like, the maturity levels are
I don't know. I feel like 25 is not the right age.
Well, is this called Joy's theory of love or Coley's?
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
I'm just saying. So something happens at the age of 25 where men and women hit this point, and I feel that men are just now discovering themselves, and I feel like women are at this place where they're almost trying to start over in a lot of ways. Because there's a lot of stuff that, because y'all more mature and y'all dated older dudes, that y'all now dealing with. So now this puts you in a place where you now got to go back and look at all them dudes throughout your entire life that you paid no attention to, because your attention was these other places.
With the older guys.
With the older guys.
Or maybe an athlete guy.
An athlete,
the same age as
something
you,
that wasn't right for you. The point is, a lot of bad decisions are made by, unfortunately, by a lot of females by the age of 25.
That's really generalizing. I don't know if I agree.
Hey.
Oh, okay, that's your theory.
This is Chloe's theory on
theory
love.
As a woman who was in her 20s, I don't necessarily agree.
I didn't say this is not it's not an absolute.
Sure, okay, all right.
But there's just something that happens where I think women open their aperture more in their mid to late 20s.
Too.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so that puts people in a unique position as you get into your 30s and then head into your 40s, that I think is just, perspective is then different because of experience.
Hopefully.
That's not always the case.
No, it's not.
Desire sometimes trumps needs in a lot of instances. And
Yes.
this is men too. It works both ways.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No.
So Coley's long theory on love is there's something happens at the age of 25 where, you've probably come across somebody that's soulmate ready or soulmate potential, but a lot of times the ships pass in the night because people ain't ready at the same time.
Well, okay, yeah, a lot of times people aren't ready at the same time, but honestly,
it's still there. And that doesn't mean you need to commit to somebody by 25. But as, let's say if you're 35, 40 looking for somebody, there might be somebody you went to high school with, college with, or come across, even in the party scene, that you can legit rekindle because you guys have a lot of shared experiences to be the platform to start your relationship. So it's not a matter of like you need to find somebody by the age of 25. I'm just saying more than likely the person you're going to have the most in common with is somebody that was in your life between the age of 0 and 25, because those were formative years and you guys were in those same spaces. So now you can go back and look at it. And then as you get older and older, it's more opportunity.
Okay, is the theory done?
It's done.
Yeah, it's done. Say, like,
okay.
It's done.
Oh, so you just wanted to tell me that?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
So then where do we go from there?
Where we go from there?
Yeah.
Well, like to hear your response. I said, yes, Coley. Oh my God, I didn't.
Wow, you're so brilliant. You should write a book.
Exactly.
Or do a podcast.
Thank you, wife.
Your experience speaking as a woman.
As a human.
Oh, as a human.
As a human.
Okay, sure.
As a human.
Sure.
As a human.
Okay. That's interesting. I don't necessarily know if I agree. It's not even about agreeing. It's just, that's not my experience.
Okay.
Let's
talk about your experience then. Challenge.
I just have more questions about the theory. Like, this doesn't make sense. Like, well, all right. I guess, like, wouldn't that same theory apply to the male, or is it that the male after 25 still meets more options, but the woman's option stops at 25?
They don't stop.
Okay. That's what
but they're not the same.
Okay.
Because think about it. Now that 25-year-old dude is now not 25, but that older dude is now reaching back for younger.
Oh. Okay.
And that's it's a cycle. It's a cycle that goes on and on and on.
So you're saying the male's options at 25 are going to go up?
I think they start to open up
because he
more.
can technically, legally date a 20-year-old. Is that what you're saying? When he's like 28.
Well, it's not even about it's not even about 25 dating 20, right? It's about an older guy being appealing to younger women.
Oh, okay. But the older woman is not appealing. Is that what you're saying?
Not saying not appealing. I'm just saying the options are broader.
Okay. So look,
here's the thing. No, you can challenge it, but my point is this: you don't see a lot of older women angling for the younger dudes.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. They'll be like, he's only 30.
I will date someone that was younger.
Not much younger.
What's your cap? What would be your cap?
30, maybe 38, 39 to 60. Preferably to 57.
I got it.
Yeah.
I get that.
Preferably.
And all I'm saying is that in that age range, a 39 to 57-year-old man has options for any woman in his age group, and I feel he can go all the way down to like early 20s.
Yeah, he can.
And I feel it's harder
for women to do
that.
Yeah, it's a different dynamic.
It's a different dynamic, and it's not again an absolute saying like you can't do that. It's just what it is, and it's no different than saying like, you know, they always showed that picture. Remember they used to show that meme of Meek Mill, like how did he end up with when he was dating Nicki Minaj, and they showed.
I don't really do memes, so no.
Oh, okay. Well, there's a picture of Meek Mill back when he had the braids and the dusties, and it was like, how did this dude end up with her? And that's like illustrative of the point right there. It's like, well, yeah, he came into his own. He figured out his hairstyle.
It also could have been marketing.
It's marketing, all the above.
Yeah,
but you see that come up a lot more and more and more now.
Well, the only story I will say and I'm not saying Coley's theory is accurate.
No, it's his theory.
But I will say that I remember that we went to like a birthday party because, again, I'm not from Chicago, but everyone we would go was from Chicago. And we went to Chicago, a birthday party of like a kid. And this one girl you went to high school with, like literally came up to you and was like, where were you when I was single? And I was like, what? And then, do you remember this?
I do not.
Yes, he does. Anyway, so the point is, like, they were just like, you guys were like talking about your 20s and all this. And then she was kind of like, why didn't I see you when I was hanging out in my 20s or whatever? And I remember in the car, you were like, yeah, she probably didn't pay attention to me because I was in my 20s and she was like going for the older dudes. And now she's just like single and still unmarried. And now she's like looking back over the list of dudes she could have talked to. You don't remember this story?
I mean, let's say if that story is true, right? I think I remember it. That just proves Coley's theory of love once again.
That's why I brought up this.
Exactly.
Because I was just like, dang, she was, because you could, I feel like I'm not finna go through with your theory because a 25-year-old cusp, that's kind of, to me, seemed too early in a way. Because you could go to grad school, you could go to medical school, law school. So that, I feel at least maybe up to 30, or not even that, but like, just, I think you're saying that the people that you really might connect with and were people that were your friends, that y'all have similar friends, similar experiences or whatever, so you could connect with them. And I do feel like a woman might hit a certain age and she's like, damn, I'm not married. And she might go through her Rolodex. Like, I think everybody goes through a Rolodex, not just dudes, not just women, also men. Like, it's not like...
you actually, that's what happened with us. That's literally what happened to us. We dated in our 20s, broke up, got back together in our late 20s, got married when we were 30, and now we're in our 40s, and we're here, right? That's what happened to us. And again, it doesn't mean that at 25, if you're not booed up, it's over. It just means as guys get older, something happens for whatever reason.
The light comes on, and you're like, okay, everybody's settling down.
Correct.
Well, I might as well.
Correct. The light clicks for us, I feel like, later than women. I feel like women, like...
Because you have more time to play.
Correct.
Right. You do have more time.
1,000%.
And we also, we have biological clocks. Y'all don't. You could be 78 busting out kids.
Yeah. Hey, that's all true.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
It's you guys just, again, as you're letting Coley's theory of love settle in, the more and more you guys are like,
what's the question? Is there a question in this?
There's several questions. Melissa, tell us about love after 40, where your love and where your love is actually.
To the theory.
It's not about the theory. Yeah, the question was there a question, and that's the question.
Oh, okay.
To tell you about how it is over 40.
Not over 40, or however you want to.
I mean, you know what? I'll say this. In my 20s, I was very much not just in love, but I was oblivious to a lot of things. And I was in a relationship from like 19 to almost 30. And there was a lot of foolishness in it. And a lot of it was caused by me, and a lot was caused by him. Mm-hmm. It happens. It's in your 20s or whatever. So I'm still exhausted from that. But in my 20s, honestly, I'm happy that I didn't necessarily settle down and get married or have a baby. I wanted to do that, but honestly, when I look back, it's like, thank God I didn't, because I wasn't ready.
Correct.
I was not ready. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know what I could offer. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even know how to really be a good friend in a sense to my boyfriend at the time. Like I tried my best, but I didn't. Like when I look back, it's like you could have been better.
Yeah.
And you could have been fair. I wasn't fair. And two, I think I don't know how to explain it. I'll say this: in my latter 40s, late 40s, now, I am very appreciative of the way things have turned out and have happened. I mean, yes, it gets lonely. It's different out here. It's weird. It's very weird. People are weird. It's really weird. I'm a very different kind of person, and I know that my person is not necessarily just going to be just randomly out because I'm not randomly out.
Correct.
But also, too, that's also not my biggest, what do you say, my biggest lack of missing. That's not the only thing on my mind.
It's not your priority.
Exact. Thank you. I could not think of that for
It's not your priority.
It's not a priority because I have other priorities that kind of matter more. Not that that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's just that I realized I was spending a lot of time like, woe is me, or why, or you know, why didn't the guy call me back, or whatever, and made it more about me, and it really wasn't. And then I internalized it, and I just made a mess. And after a while, that's kind of taxing, exhausting. But anyway, I don't know, I'm kind of moving all around.
Really? Show is. It ain't gonna hurt nobody.
Yeah,
okay, all right.
Really not.
But I realized that I didn't know who I was, and that wasn't necessarily pushed, like in the household, or, you know, I grew up with a great-grandmother, grandmother, and a mother. So 3 different generations of women.
The
different
Golden
experiences
Girls.
from being, well, yeah, in Chatham. But, you know, so I didn't have any, I was free to think what I wanted, you know. I'm really a hopeless romantic. I just have had to lock that up because I have used it on the wrong people, and it's been abused. But I don't know, like my business has kind of become my boyfriend. I mean, lots of things have happened, and I realized everywhere you go, there you are. So a lot of stuff I would put into guys, and it wasn't like I was a huge dater, you know. But a lot of energy that I put into men or young men or whatever at the time, I should have been putting into me. And like secretly, they wanted me to put the same energy into me and not them, because that's what they were attracted to. So
how interesting.
It's very weird. But so eventually I was made to focus on me, because it was kind of like, well, nobody's coming around. And if they come around, then they last for like a day, or they don't call. And after a while, even being the kind of unicorn I am, approaching men, it really didn't work out for me.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, I'm a hopeless romantic. I'm old school in a sense. I don't necessarily want to approach a man. I prefer for a man to approach me.
Like, what would you say? Like, you don't seem like you
I mean, I know. Like I said, I tried. I bought drinks. Hey,
Oh, that's
you
pretty
drink?
good.
You know, like, or hey, you know, blah, 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 blah. I'm really not good at, you know, I'm not a player like that.
Yeah, that's
you know
not your flow.
It's not my
that's
thing.
Yeah, no.
And honestly, a lot of my relationships were kind of like, we're spending time together and we have interests, the same interests. So that to me is fun. It's not like, you know, we're getting together and bam, bam. Not that anything's wrong with that, but these relationships, for me, I'm a person you have to get to know.
Sure.
I just am, like, and then all that other stuff starts to happen. And then it becomes a whole nother thing. And then it's like, this is fabulous and yada, 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 yada. But I'm a person you have to get to know. And I don't think these days people don't even know how to get to know you.
But you know, to yes, Andrew, I think there's a couple things you said, right? Like, you say you're different. You say you're a unicorn. But I think that's what...
That's the joke. That's the joke.
That's the joke, right?
Yeah.
But that's everything that's making Everybody's Busy, your business, so intriguing, right? So all of that has led to the business. And the dudes that have known you your whole life are going to know, well, that's Melissa.
Yeah.
And that's the dude that's going to appreciate you. So I know, like, my theory on love sounds like it's divisive, but it's really not, because it's someone that has probably been in your space for the last 20, 30 years. They're going to like, not only like appreciate it.
I don't think I want them.
I think that's the issue.
No,
it's like, I don't really like. That's great. I'm glad you finally caught on, but at this point, it's like.
But you just said for 11 of those years you were with somebody, so that might have took somebody else out.
I mean, I was
what I'm saying?
I was with him, but I was also emotionally just a wreck. So
Correct.
I was not available.
Correct. So it's not about, again, it's all about timing and when stuff happens, right?
Okay.
So I would say that too. I think the other thing, Joy and I, we were. I remember it was Christmas Day. I think I had COVID, but we were driving around just to get out the house, and we were listening, I think, to a podcast with the Gottman Institute.
Yeah, Small Things Often.
Small Things Often, which is phenomenal. It's like 3-minute podcast. It's like a 3-minute podcast, which we might need to adopt that format. So Coley can go back on History of Love and explain it in more depth, but just on my own. But they made this point. They were like, relationships based on their studies, and this is all they do, relationship studies, and they actually have data to support what they say.
Well, their like studies are like, why do people break up?
Yeah,
like that's what they like study.
But they made the point that a lot of relationships that are based on similar interest don't go far, because I like basketball, she likes basketball, I like hip hop.
Balance.
They're like, it's when the other person finds you interesting.
Yeah.
And interesting doesn't mean different, exotic, or, taste and outlier things. It's just like, I find it interesting that this guy can get up every day, go to work, come home, and like still have a smile on his face and still be down to like do stuff with me, to manage all that.
Yeah.
That might be interesting to somebody. And then on the flip side, oh man, I think it's interesting that she finds a way to like, I don't think she's ever worn the same outfit twice, but she doesn't have a lot of clothes in her closet. Like that might just intrigue you. But it's like the stuff that you find interesting,
right?
That will propel a relationship. I think they made that point, and I thought about that because a lot of the things, I like basketball. I should date girls who like basketball. Joy played basketball in high school, but like outside of the playoffs, you really don't ever talk about basketball because that's not the basis of our relationship. It's like all the other stuff, like,
which is okay to me. I'm not saying that you got to have it, because it's a lot of guys that I know that are married or have girlfriends, and it's like they don't do the same thing at all. They're not even interested. Like, he's interested in comics or anime or Marvel. She's like not into it. So I get the balance. I get it. But like you said, there has to be some sort of interest. We're interested in each other.
Correct.
Some way.
Correct. And I think oftentimes people, and especially now, I feel like, and I think I would struggle with this if I were single, like the way Instagram has set stuff up, if you do anything and you could be perceived to like not be on top or not have come out as a winner, like people won't do it. People will sit back. Just the way the stuff is set up, if you like go out and your fit ain't perfect, like you won't like go out. You know what I'm saying? Or you won't take any pics, or you'll just have a funky attitude. And I feel like that might have always been the case, but I feel with social media, it's even more so that like people like
they're afraid to take risks.
Everybody has to be cool now. You have to be cool at all times. Like that's why people don't dance no more, because people don't want to be caught on IG like not having rhythm.
Well, everything is caught. Some people
and that's
need to catch everything.
Yeah, but that's the way the world is set up now, and like you just have a group of people waiting for you to mess up, and I feel like that is holding so many people back.
It's called editing, but okay.
But it's not your video though. Like,
people be like posting videos of you without your consent. It's just like up there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But I think what's interesting with relationships is like people might have that interest and then somehow they lose it too. Like it's not like you take interest in the person and then like people can be married for like 30 years and then they're just like divorced, and it's like what happened? Like they stopped thinking the person was interesting, or they stopped taking interest. Like to me, it's like, how do you also maintain the interest, especially if the person stays exactly the same all that time?
My grandparents on my father's side were together for a very long time, and I want to say closer to 80, she left.
Oh, wow.
It's just like
the bag fell off the
right, I was like, oh, okay. And I was actually closer to him, my grandfather, but it was like she left. She didn't want to tell him where she went, which was like, come on, you're not running in the streets, whatever. You're going to your daughter's house.
I'm at the Rivers Casino.
But, it was just kind of like, wow, after all that time, it was like, I don't want to do this anymore, which is fine. I don't think it's fair to that person. It wasn't fair to him. If you don't want to be there, you don't like him anymore, or you don't like yourself, whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. You got to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And it's really, to me, kind of respectful if it's like, you know what? I can't do it with you no more. I can't do it with you no more. I can't. Because it's not there. So it can happen. It can totally happen. I think it's fine. I think also, too, we put so much emphasis on relationships. And I mean, romantic relationships, a lot of times we don't even romance ourselves. We don't even know how to. And I think I sort of had to learn that, not on purpose, but sort of on purpose. I had to learn to really like me. And, I could ask for like, oh, I want this guy to come with this and that and the third and whatever. And I always make a list every year of what I want, and sometimes it's fulfilled and sometimes it isn't, whatever. But most of the time the list is fulfilled. And I would always put the type of guy I wanted, but I also want to be offering this, that, and the third. I want to be mentally healthy. I want to be emotionally healthy. Like, I want to have all these different things. So if I meet him, then it's not like it's an explosion. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want to be prepared. Yeah. And not just for him, but really for myself. Because things are going to happen. You're going to get disappointed, or you're going to disappoint, or you're going to say something or whatever. I mean, people are people. But I think for me, I not forced, but I'm not saying like I'm really a unicorn, it's a joke, but I do think a little differently, and I do want different things. And things interest me not in such a commercial way. Like it can be the penmanship, and I've seen that. I've seen it could be penmanship. It could be the way he wears his hat, the fact that his of course, well dressed and well manicured. But then it's like a sort of a laid back feel. But at the end of the day, it's like, is this person nice? Can I tolerate him? Can he tolerate me? Can we just hang out? Like, it's all those things, but you have to get to know somebody. Yeah. You're not going to find that. They're not going to meet that criteria like right then and there. Yeah. You got to, like, just like you're working with yourself, you got to work with that person. But I don't think a lot of times people want to work together because they don't know how to work together, because they're not really taught that.
You're not. And
it's really hard to do that.
It is.
Yeah.
And that goes
it's a lot of work.
Yeah. That's why Cody's to Your Love said you need somebody you can go. You have there's history with, there's shared history. Because you'll have a lot more empathy towards, I think, the person's triggers, right? Like, you'll understand some of the stuff that, like, you'll understand, like, you know what? This person might have tried to audition to become a singer or for somebody's tour, and they didn't make it. So when they see stuff, they know what's going on. They might have auditioned for American Idol.
He's referencing me.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
Yeah. But then I know, like, oh, so she sees singing competitions from a different perspective than
I did really bad on there. So.
You went on American Idol?
Yeah, I was like really, really bad on there.
Where? Like, from where? What year?
Would you like to hear the story?
Not the whole one. But
okay, I'll give an abbreviation.
Bullet points.
Okay, bow. 1, it was in Milwaukee. 2, it happened to happen just during summer, and I'm a teacher, and I had summer off, so it was like perfect timing. Okay. 3, I had gone to this random jazz school, and I thought I was really good because I was singing jazz, so I was prepared. Then 4, I had a friend who was like, Joy, we should do American Idol together. So then I didn't even have to sit in the audition line by myself, Melissa. Doesn't this make sense?
So far, we're winning.
5, I got you had to wear a wristband, and you couldn't take it off. You had to wear it like 2 days. And I didn't lose my wristband. It's meant to be. It's fruition. Then finally, for some random reason, when it was my turn, when I got in that stadium, which is where the NBA final champions, the 2021 Milwaukee Bucks play, I was inside of that stadium, and I couldn't move. Everyone was talking and stuff, and everybody was like singing and stuff and doing like warm-ups and stuff, and I was just like frozen in my seat. So that's a downhill spiral. Then from there, it was finally my turn to audition. I had my number, everything. Then I went up there, and I was supposed to sing Coldplay. I was supposed to sing Coldplay Yellow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I'm good at this song.
But what did the jazz have to do with it? Did the jazz help?
Wait, we're not there yet.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Come on.
Sorry.
Okay. And I even sang the song over the phone to Coley, and Coley was like, this is good. And then, what? Okay, I'm not going to get into that.
Okay.
So, I was ready. I had been practicing everything. And then, random side note, I worked at Macy's, and the lady saw the American Idol, like, wristband, and she was like, what song you finna sing? And I, like, sang it for her, and I did good at the register. So, I was, like, ready. Then, I went up there. They were, like, contestant number, like, 387, whatever the hell my number was. And then I went up there. And why did I start singing What a Difference a Day Makes?
All right.
I had a straight up out of body experience. I'm not kidding you. I was like, what? Like, you know how to, like, your soul be like floating above you and like looking down. Like, that's what it felt like. I was like, what the hell is happening? And,
was this who was part of the panel?
I didn't make it that far.
You didn't make it to Simon and Randy. Okay.
I was eliminated in the first round.
This is neither funny nor gonna make it to Hollywood.
It was like a slow jazz rendition, and it was like you only had like 30 seconds. So I don't think I even got to the chorus of the song.
Okay, all right.
Wait, what's your question?
I was going to say the music. Wouldn't the music have matched? But I guess you don't get the music.
Yeah, it's a cappella, which makes it worse. Yeah, that was real bad.
All right.
Yeah.
So I know not, if we've practiced something, it may or may not happen with that. I know that going into the relationship. It may or may not happen. Okay. Not what we practice, but hey, adaptation.
I thought you were going to say, that's like why I really don't, I hate like the Voice, American Idol, all those shows. Like it's a bad memory.
Yeah.
And then
I know that.
And then I didn't even add this part. The guy, my friend that I came with, dude got cut too. Dude was super mad that he got cut, and then he was about to do the interview. You know how they be at the end?
Yeah.
Like, why they didn't pick you? Dude was about to do the interview. I was like, no, like, it was so bad. Like, Melissa, like, it was bad.
Listen, you tried, though.
Thank you very much.
It's a good experience.
Listen. Listen, hey, but now we have a highly successful podcast.
Yes.
And you're on the mic, 28 episodes
Still using my voice, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
With our good friend, Miss Melissa Stinson. I know we're about to come up on time. I didn't even start the stopwatch, but I think we come up on time.
I know. I feel like we didn't really discuss anything.
It's a podcast.
Yeah,
it's not meant to. Not everything is meant to have a start and a finish. Because when you come back to the third time, you can maybe get into it. But can you tell us what's next for Everybody's Busy?
Shucks. I don't know what's. Well, you know what?
What's in the next 90 days? Do you think? Let's.
I'm really hoping. I would like to really have the brand be in people's homes.
Okay.
And basically have that experience. I mean, when you come to my space, you never leave empty-handed. It's so much more than a cup of coffee that you get.
Yeah.
Like it really, really, really is. So, I mean, I'd like to have some products. I'm working on that where people can add them to, their decor. And things that work, like little teacups that don't break or, a certain coffee with stories. Like I would like to say like the Martha Stewart / Meet Supreme.
Oh, wow.
So I would like to have products. It's not really about making the coffee. I just happen to make really good coffee. But I know at the end of the day, nobody really cares about good coffee. Like, they don't.
Yeah.
And it's okay. It's all right.
Yeah, like I said, I go there, I discover. Like, 90% of my trip there is just, because especially with kids, I can't get out as much as I used to.
Sure.
We don't have time, like, you read about a restaurant, and then by the time you get there, oh, shit, they've already closed down.
Yeah.
That was on that list. They're
Sure.
gone. So I think, like just the discovery aspect, I had been meaning to go to Duck Inn for years, and we stayed in Brownsville. It was right there till we got together. Never had walked into Duck Inn. I've had the food at Chicago, or maybe I'd never stepped in, and now it's like one of my favorite spots to go to eat, to drink. It's not pretentious in there. Well, it can be, but like some of the people come there, but it's like
honestly, if you just thinking about yourself, that's all that matters.
And that's
just own the room yourself. And I mean, I have to remind myself of that too. I've gotten better at it, but at the end of the day, it's like I'm going for an experience. Whatever happens is great, but really too, I'm going for experience for taste and just intentionality. Treatment is treatment. So
there you go, and I think that's what your space offers, because you don't have to worry about anybody else. You don't have to think about
you could just be in there talking to you by yourself.
And it's all basically intent. It's all intention. That whole thing is intention.
Yeah. Yeah. So as we come up on time, we like to wrap every show with a little segment. I'm sorry, you had something?
Oh, no, I just wanted to add before we say something we wish we would have known. It's like, too, Melissa has a lot of, like, prints that she makes that you don't realize, like, she made this. Like, it's like, you would think that she bought it. It's like, she made it. And then on top of it, I would say even with this show, even though you said, like, we really didn't, like, cover anything, I feel like this vibe we have here, this is what you get when you go to her.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just like we're just talking.
Yeah.
And that's literally what you want people to do when they come to your spot.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right.
There you go.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, all right, sure. I'll take it.
So we like to end every show with a little segment called Things We Wish We Would Have Known. Melissa, you've done this before, so it shouldn't be a huge lift to do it again. So I'll kick it off. One thing I wish I would have known is, besides my theory of love being spot on, and I need to evangelize this even more because apparently I didn't tell you, something I wish I would have known is, like, the cost of something isn't about the dollar amount. It's the value that you get out of whatever you're purchasing. There's a lot of things in life that I haven't done because I was concerned about the dollar amount versus, like, the actual value or enjoyment I would get from that experience regardless of the dollar amount. So now that I'm older, in my 40s, and I rarely get out, like, but for us to do this podcast, we're paying a babysitter right now, plus our studio fees. It's not a cheap endeavor, and we don't make any money off of that until we get our first sponsor ever. Anyway,
Ding.
right? But the value that, my wife and I are creating something. We have I'll say a platform to have discussions with our friends and to, like, share these discussions with the world. Like, 25-year-old Coley would have been like, well, why would we pay that much money to do that if we're not making any money? Now it's like, let's make sure we're here twice a month to do it. So, don't let finances constrain you from doing something that you want to do, because there's a value beyond the money, because you'll get that money back and then some. Like, find what makes you happy, but make sure you're still responsible about it.
Yeah.
Something I wish I would have known.
Are you ready, Melissa, or you want me to go?
I mean, honestly, I'm trying to think of some. Right now, what's coming to my mind, honestly, the way things have all panned out, I'm okay, honestly, how everything happened. I really have been saying that more and more to myself, like, oh, I should have done this. No, I did exactly what I was supposed to do when I did it. And however my behavior was or however I acted, that's the way it was supposed to be at the moment. But look, like I said, looking back, I really don't have it, not regrets, but that all led me to this.
The Ain't Gonna Hurt Nobody podcast.
Yeah.
Look at God.
Oh, I guess I would say something I wish I would have known is something Coley actually said to me, so I'll give him his credit. But back in the day, he said, like, you want to be somebody's, like, he was talking about options, like how when Bella gets older, he wants to, like, teach her, like, not to go for the person that has a ton of options, but go for the person that wants you to be, like, their only option. Mm-hmm. And I just thought that was such an interesting, like, thing, like, to say to your daughter from as a dad, and just, like, something I wish I would have known. Like, you know how all the girls, like, the basketball player, but it's like you're going for somebody you already know they got mad options. So statistically, your odds of getting hurt are kind of, like, high. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, go for the person that wants you to be their main option.
Yeah.
Like, and that just makes like sense to me. So that's something I really do wish I would have known. I wasted a lot of time like with that.
I'm waiting. I'm not saying I'm waiting, but like that also adds to the singleness where it's like I do have other shit that I'm worried about.
Yeah,
that's not really it. But yeah, it's like I'm not into being somebody's option, and I don't want him to be my option. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's I don't know.
Yeah.
So I agree.
Yeah, it's fair.
It's good advice.
It is. Well, Melissa, thank you for taking the time with us today. We appreciate it, and we can't wait for you to come back for the third time, which will be sooner than 3 years.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
And we will let you know that you will be on camera, but you still look amazing.
Oh, all right. I'll take it.
Thank you.
That's for sure, everybody. Ain't Gonna Hurt Nobody podcast. We out.
Thank you.